All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Stogies with Bogey. Today we have a Daddyball special, the Daddyball Chronicles. We got a couple of former baseball players and current and former coaches. We're going to start off with introductions here. We got Brady Van Hook, who will be on the left or right. We're going to go back all the way to 11U travel baseball team, where you played with the West Volusia Vipers. We got 13U at Trinity Prep. We got Florida Flash. And we got Baseball Nation. We got Team Molina. And then he finished up the high school travel ball with the Freshwater Storm. High school played at Trinity Christian Academy, class of 14. Went off to FSCJ, played for 2 years. Redshirted them, played for 2 years. And then finished off at Bethune-Cookman. Go Cats.
Go Cats, baby.
He played 2 summer balls, one where we met at the Altamont Springs Shockers, and then once out in Wyoming Casper Horseheads with who was the name drop the famous guy with you?
I actually played with 2 famous guys right now. At least if you consider Banana Ball to be famous, but
we have to.
I played with Robert Cruz, so Rack, Coach Rack. He's like all famous on TikTok and stuff now, I think. But and then Dalton Malden, another
Coach
banana.
Rack, Dalton Malden,
yeah.
2 bananas and a singer. Not bad. And now, once we were washed up, he went on to coach the 9U Spikes with me, invite only. We coached them until they were 12. We squeezed in one to where we swapped sides, and I was your assistant coach for a 16U Spikes team during the summer.
No.
Fun time.
We don't talk about that time.
You did a little private contracting with DME, hard 90 with me, and now you're back with the Freshwater Storm, I heard, having some fun summer ball and doing lessons, private lessons. Check out Brady Van Hook for private lessons. His phone number will be in the comments section.
Boy.
So welcome to the show, Brady. First time. Long time, first time.
Thanks for having me, Cody. Yeah.
So I knew Brady mostly as a coach, one summer as a player. Summers are always better. Those are just easy baseball, man. Just having some fun, sweating it out on the turf fields every day.
There we go.
On the other side of me, we have Corey Tufts. Corey Tufts and I were teammates back at Embry-Riddle, but he started off with the Florida Bombers back in 2009. 2010, went over to the Florida Pokers. 2011, did his schoolwork that I know he did such a good job on at East Ridge High School. Then went over and took it to Embry-Riddle for his 4 years. Did you redshirt?
Yeah, 5 years.
5 years, super senior, where he was the big dog hurler on the mound. I got to catch him. I catch you for 2. Yeah, caught you for 2. You was a probation bandit for 1 year.
That's right.
Played 3 summer ball tours with the Sanford River Rats and the Winter Garden Squeeze of the Florida Collegiate Summer League here in Central Florida, and then went down to South Florida, it looks like, to play for the Florida Pokers. He coached with the Ormond Beach Spikes as well as he was in college, I think through Antoine Brown or Jeff Lemon maybe, right?
Through Lemon, yeah.
Through Jeff Lemon. Shout out Coach Lemon at Seabreeze. And then he's currently and has been coaching Team Orlando since 2017, doing God's work down there. Yeah. Pitching coach, head coach?
I'm kind of all around. I've done it all, 11, 12. These days you find me on the big field. I don't go back down to the little ones anymore. So
that's good.
But 13, 14-year-olds, pitching. I'm not very good with hitting, so we stick to the pitching.
You could swing it a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, if you can't teach, and Brady and I could teach hitting. I was kidding. I could teach hitting. Couldn't necessarily do hitting too much. Speaking of my glory days, we're going to go down my team names because I think I have some pretty funny team names I was involved with for some reason. Started off with the Inverness Crackers. That was based on a minor league baseball team from North Georgia, or a baseball organization. So don't know what the motivation was behind it. We had a pretty diverse roster, so I don't know where the Crackers came from necessarily. We joined forces with the Citrus County, and we formed the Shuckers. We let the Crystal River people name that team. I think that's where we got Shuckers from. Opening the clans and stuff. That was short-lived. Then I went over to Gatorball Baseball Academy. Shout out Steve Barton. Good organization over there. Did my 4 years of high school at Citrus High School. Always proud to be a Hurricane. And then went over to Embry-Riddle for 4 years. 4 in a queue. Got in, got out. School and baseball and everything. I think I left with a lower ERA than my GPA. So it's hard. Not many people can say it. I have 1/3 of an inning under the belt. 3 pitches.
Very nice.
I had more warm-up pitches than actual pitches in my Embry-Riddle pitching period. Played summer ball with Brady at the Shockers, another fun name, and then I went out to Kansas with Cole Habig to be a liberal BJ in the Jayhawk League out there. That's actually cool because we got to go over to play in the Collegiate Baseball World Series, where we played the Kansas Stars, which was Jeff Francourt's team. Roger Clemens was on it, but like a bunch of guys that were retired for a couple years or just retired. I think both Clemens' sons were on there, Cody. Got a base hit off of Brad Penny, a well out of the league Brad Penny, but also got 2 strikeouts against Roy Oswald. That was one of the most electric sliders I have ever seen.
Hey, you're okay striking out to that guy.
I mean, he was just out, man. I mean, he had, yeah, I'll take that every day of the week. The second at bat, I thought I was going to have him because I was like, I've seen it. He threw me 3 sliders my first at bat. I had a full count. Nope. It was just, couldn't see anything.
Must have been scared of you throwing straight sliders.
I had a pretty good summer, man. I went out there. I was taking Benadryl every single day because the host family, I didn't do my homework and they had a cat. And I still am kind of allergic to cats, and man, was I just stuffed up and just popping Benadryls, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I think it might be a PED. They might have it listed as a PED now. But I hit okay. Nothing powerful, but I hit like close to 500, I think, and then came back and couldn't bring it back to Daytona. So that's how she goes. All right, enough talking about us. Let's talk about everything else that we have to deal with. I know it's always been a hot topic. I haven't really got to dive into it in a while because I've been retired from the game. So I'm interested to hear your guys' perspective on how things have been going out there in the travel baseball world, but just youth sports in general. I really want to ask you, so that transition period hits a lot of people, and Antoine Brown was supposed to be on here, and I know his whole married to the game and just kind of his Brown Baseball Academy, everything that he's done, which was a cool track record if people want to go check out Brown Baseball Academy and Married to the Game. But he had a lot of struggle, and he was open about it, about that transfer after baseball was over, right? And I know it hits a lot of people hard. I went to school. I was a nerd. I was like, I know I'm going to do some type of engineering. I kind of had that guide point. Like I chose a school that I could play baseball at and do engineering. Not many people have that. Some people are just like, I need to play ball. I want to play the best competitive ball I can play. And then after that, it's like, what happens? And I remember talking to a lot of guys during college, especially when that junior, senior year hits around and you got no scouts calling you in the cell phone. You got to do something. You got to make something happen. I know there's independent ball, which some guys took that advantage of. You got Zach Groth still playing in the Mexican League down there. So I really want to get, we'll go with Brady's perspective on that transition period from being a player that was your priority, was playing the best baseball you could, make the playoffs, all that stuff. And then boom, here comes the real world. Now what happens?
Yeah. I mean, it was tough for sure. Luckily I found you had actually just reached out to me like right around that time anyway to start coaching. I think I was maybe not even a year done playing. So luckily I was able to hop like right back into baseball. I didn't have too much of a lull without it. I don't know, man. I feel like I still struggle with that a little bit, to be honest.
I definitely hear that.
I feel like that love for the game kind of, doesn't go away.
Yeah.
I always want to be around it.
And I don't want to say like I just dropped it and left. Like, I mean, I coached for a long time too to scratch that itch. I did a year. I think I did a year without coaching, and I was like, it's either this or softball. I gotta get out there and do one or the other. And I end with a broken hand, so I was like, I don't really feel like hitting and running just yet.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What do you think, Tufts? How'd you adjust after?
Mine was a little bit different. I mean, you caught me. I had the ability. I had the talent, and ended up with an injury mid-season that kind of went unnoticed, and got towards the end of the year, and kept going on it, and finally got done. And turns out I tore my UCL, so had to go through the whole process, Tommy John, all while out of school. So no training room, no trainers, kind of doing everything on my own. So it was a little bit different in that sense. So, went and got a normal job. I was a substitute teacher and coaching baseball at the high school. That's kind of was my transition into it. So I never really fell out of the game. I think it was a lot easier for me to hang it up once I went through the whole rehab, and it wasn't the same. So it was a little bit easier for me to hang it up knowing an injury was the end of it, not just kind of, not just, hey, nothing worked out. So, but I jumped right into coaching, and I've been doing it since then. So there's never been a low point or a kind of a break in the action, so to say. It's kind of just been, as soon as I got done, it was straight to coaching still.
Yeah, and I kind of share the same sentiment there. Like, my dad was asking me after I started working, because I had no money and I had to pay the rent. I was like, he's like, do you want to go try to catch bullpen somewhere? I can try to reach out. And my dad has a lot of context, so I got that Daddyball treatment that way, of the beneficial side of, he knew a lot of people. That's how I found Embry-Riddle. He knew Cerno from mutual friends of days past. But I was like, you know what, man, my hand's killing me. I had to get 2 surgeries on that thing anyways. So the injury definitely makes it a lot easier. And I guess that's where, trying to ask Brady, I've talked to other guys that, kind of lost, kind of job hopping. Shoot, my brother, Austin Bogart, he was talking about the other day, is like, if I wasn't half decent at baseball, I wouldn't have even gone to college maybe. And he went to college for something, got a job kind of for it, and then bounced around. Now he's a realtor. So, I mean, would you say your college degree helped you be a realtor, Brady?
No, I would not. I think it helps with being a realtor, but I feel like I could definitely be a realtor without my college degree.
To be honest with you, baseball probably made you more ready for being a realtor than school did, because you got slumps. You got to, stay hot while you're hot. I would say baseball actually helped you more than
definitely
any piece of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one thing with me, dude, is since I went to junior college first, I feel like when I got there, they didn't even have my elective. And then when I went, so I just started doing, whatever I guess a few guys on the team were doing. I mean, I graduated with a business administration degree, but, and then same thing when I got to Cookman. They had business administration, but at that point I was like, I feel like I'm all in on baseball. Like, I've never really thought, what to do after. And then plus now I can't even take my degree. So yeah, I feel like that, you're saying that you kind of had it planned out with, what you were going to do, Cody, but I feel like I switched up as soon as I got to college and then didn't have an idea after, you know what I mean?
And that was my next question, was like, what were you at Trinity Christian? What were you thinking? Like, what was Brady going to go do? Play in the majors? I mean, it was on the back of my list, was like, go slum it out somewhere and make $600 a month and play some ball.
That was a dream. I don't know. I had never, honestly, I didn't do a good enough job when I was younger on planning, having the backup plan. It was honestly always baseball.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing right now with a lot of kids that I coach now, is like trying to just instill in them that, hey, our whole organization, we have people that have played in the pros. We have some that have, fallen short, but, trying to reiterate that across, like, hey, at some point this is going to come to an end, and for probably 99% of you, it's a lot sooner than you think it's going to be.
For sure.
Trying to just, get them. I think the biggest thing with, the kids is it's, trying to get them to be, just hard workers, better kids, be good for their parents, little stuff like that, that kind of in the long run is what you're trying to. Baseball's a good secondary part of it, but life comes first, really. So trying to instill that in kids is kind of a big part of the game, right?
Yeah, Brady and I had long frustrated or exciting drives there sometimes, and then frustrated drives home. Sometimes
sure.
Frustrating drives there to those games and practices where you're just like, how do we get that message across and still win baseball games and make these kids better, right? Because it's that happy balance, and a lot of the times, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, it's just that battle of people that want to win at all costs versus the people that actually want to build something, and that something being their child, right? We want to build these kids into young men, and if we have the ability to coach someone like my sister Carly Bogart, who played with the boys up until high school, we want to coach young women to become good women in society. So it's always been that balance, and that was, I mean, every time Brady, like, do we pinch run this kid even though we shouldn't pinch run this kid, or do we pitch this kid twice in one day? You got all those things that come into play, and everyone wants to boil it down to win at all costs. And it's like, I'm thinking 4 years in your kid's future. And that was the coolest part about coaching those kids for four plus years, was we got to like see how it played out. And I would say for most of the kids that I coached, whether they stuck with baseball or got better with baseball over those 4 years, or they play in high school, I can still have a conversation with them. I think they respect me enough. And it's not even about me. I think they respect human beings. They respect the game. They respect grinding. And that was kind of always the goal, was to do that. Like, be competitive, be responsible, and suffer the consequences. And
I
think up the bat again.
I think a lot of it too is, especially I've had teams that, nowadays I coach, it's a different team every season. So I normally have them for 2 seasons for a year. And then after that, it's kind of, but then I was fortunate a couple of years ago to have the same group of kids for about 3 years. So, you get to know the parents, and like, they start to trust the decisions that you make. They start to trust what you're doing with the kid, and they just kind of step back. They don't start questioning everything. And then you have the parent who, maybe it's their first year on the team, who's doing all this stuff. And then, like, I've had parents go, man, that parent is kind of like, they're out there. Like, what, like, they don't fully understand the concept. And I'll tell everything from the beginning. He goes, I don't care if we win 0 games this year, as long as you guys are developing. My goal, especially 13, 14, due to the big field, is to get you ready for high school. You'll be there in a year, 2 years. Like, that is my job. The wins are going to come. The wins are fun. I mean, I look back to, I had kids when I was in college coaching the Spikes, Canyon Brown, who's playing for the Royals now. Like, that stuff, to me, that is, like, that's the stuff that as a coach that you look forward to. Is like, people say, like, oh, you can't follow all your kids. And I'm like, every kid that I've had that's gone on to play some sort of college pro ball, I've followed them. Whether I reach out to them or not, you still follow them, and you know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I mean, if you're a good coach, you invest in those kids on an individual level, and then you also invest to the organization that you're on or the team that you're on, because that's your brand, right? So you got to build that brand, and those kids that latch on and that give it to you, even the ones that you have to poke a little bit to kind of motivate, which is 100% understood. But the ones that stick with it, like you said, take it up and run and make something of their own, and hopefully exceed you. Because at the end of the day, we, just like my dad would always try to do, us, like, I'm beating you down so that way you rise above me later on. Like, you may feel like you're getting beat down now, but we're doing that to help you grow. So that's really cool. I forgot about Canyon. Yeah, he's out there with the Royals right now. That's fun stuff. Catcher, right?
Catcher, yeah.
Yeah. Right on. That's cool. So
I think he's another HBCU alumni. Didn't he go to A&T?
Yeah, A&T and CAT.
Okay. Oh, cool. Sticking on that one, sticking on the transition period, what was the biggest mindset change? because obviously we all had our good moments in baseball. We were all pretty good baseball players. You played college baseball. I mean, you played college baseball. You played in the, I say D2 Sunshine State Conference. That's one of the best divisions of D2, I think. Brady was playing D1 schools all across the country at a high level. And FSCJ, Florida JUCO is no joke either. And we all had our very hot streaks. We all had our low streaks too. But what was the biggest mindset change? Because we motivated individually, like ourselves, differently, right? We got motivated differently. What was the biggest transition that you guys had with translating the game for younger minds?
I think for me, it's just, just being able, to give back, kind of looking at it at a different light. You go from being in the game the whole time and everything is, me, and then you goes to teammates and, you're all working towards the same thing. And then, but kind of when you go, so I went to high school first, I coached JV. It's the same mindset. I mean, everything's a team based. It's still, you can't do anything, especially kind of in a high school thing. The JV teams they're your future kind of, they're going to be your varsity kids, the kid that go to high school or the kids that go to college. Like I had the good fortune to coach a couple kids that got drafted they played on me on JV and they went to go play high school and they went to UCF and then they got drafted. So I think the mindset is just kind of give back what you can at that point. Like obviously you're done playing with your game. You can't advance your career, but you can get a kid that's still young, still able to be molded into something that he can go in, maybe he can go live the dream that you weren't able to.
Yeah, I like that. And that's definitely where it is. And that's where Brady knows more than anyone because he was my parrot in the dugout, but it was me getting frustrated seeing coaches coach the way I would, obviously the way I wouldn't, but I coached a little bit different, but just coaching like they're trying to push this kid to do what he should have done. And that is a different mindset rather than like Jonathan Camp wants to bring back cliches. So you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Right? You can set up that horse the best you can. You can carry it over to the river. It's, at the end of the day, that player has got to find it and use it. And you're building the tools. You're building the toolbox for that kid to go on and use it in whatever part of life they see fit. And that's why it's important not just to focus on the winning, in my opinion, the exploitation of a kid's skill at that time, rather than building on that kid's skill and character. Skill and character are the biggest things you need in baseball. Character more, I think. If you're more consistent and you're a little bit lower level of a player, I think that's going to play out in the long run of a season than being a high level player that's an absolute roller coaster ride to be on. You need both in the lineup. I think you need both in the lineup because that's why you got nine players. But it's way easier to show up every day when you got consistency.
Yeah, I think some of my favorite players I ever coached were the kid that wasn't always the best. You knew what you're getting out of that kid every single day when he showed up. Those are the kids that are easy to coach.
Sure. What about you, Brady? What was your translation like?
No, just kind of exactly what you guys are talking about. I feel like the biggest thing for me when I first started coaching is I wanted to make like not change, but like big jumps with every single kid right away, because like obviously I'm fresh out of the game and I don't want these kids to make the mistakes that I made. You know what I mean? But just realizing that every kid is kind of on his own path and his own journey, and some take a lot longer to progress, and it's worth it in the end because those are the kids who were actually giving you effort throughout that whole time, and then right at the back end they start getting quite a bit better. You know what I mean? But just realizing that every kid is one different, and that time frame of him getting to the next level might be a little bit different than everyone else as well. Just patience, I guess, in that aspect of it.
Yeah. So obviously we just talked about getting the kids to the next level. I think that's a very firm foundation of where most coaches should be if you're paying large sums of money to play baseball. If you're paying large sums of money to someone to coach your kid, you should be worried about getting your kid to the next level. That we'll cut that. That'll be on the Instagram reel, because that's been the site that gets taken away, I think. Like when we started, it was, okay, we need something a little bit more than All-Stars Little League of Citrus County. We needed to, let's go see the competition around. Let's go kind of get you out of your comfort zone. Let's make you grow. Let's get some adversity in your system. Let's go out there and lose, right? I mean, half those teams I named were losing teams, and some of them by a lot. And those were some of the best baseball years that I can remember, because I learned to love that grind. That, like, if something is hard, I'm all about it. I want that complex. I want the 5,000 piece puzzle. I want a Sudoku that's on level extreme. I want to figure that stuff out. So, when baseball and now golf in my life comes around, I got to just absolutely grind to get the solution. That's that bug that Canyon Brown probably has. I mean, there's always a common denominator with that. And that's what you have to try to teach them without beating the ever-loving fun out of the game of baseball at a young age. So, yeah, going down to Double-A or playing the double headers and not going to tournaments, all that kind of stuff does help, because that less pressure environment is good. I think that's why we kind of scrimmaged a lot at practice, Brady, was to kind of give them a less pressure. Someone's throwing a ball at you, kind of think about the game situation. It sucks to do that at practice, because you want to work on 700 other things, but you're simulating a game in a less pressured environment. That's the best way to learn how to play the game, right? You can take all the ground balls you can, but if it's in the game and there's pressure,
if we want to get in depth right there, the game is a lot, especially these kids' swings. It's so much different in a game than it is in BP or hitting off the tee. Like, everything changes once you get out into the field. And I think you did a really good job of scheduling those practices to get those kids as much like realistic environment as we could.
That was one of the best ideas we did was that practice plan, drawing it up and actually putting it on the paper. I don't know how many other coaches do that and share it with the kids. I'm not saying I'm special, but I'm saying at 9 years old, we did it at 10, we did it the next year. But at 10 years old, when I'm posting a practice plan and we go over, we kind of learned how I did it. I did it in a weird way, and they had to learn how I put that information down. And then they would go do their jobs. We had jobs listed. That was just like at Embry-Riddle. D2, baby, we do our own field. But they were getting the tarp off, they were getting the L screen out, they were getting the buckets out, cone set up if we need it. They were running their own stretches. When we could show up and they could just run their own stretches, that's when the coaches can have a little powwow after their 9 to 5 and figure out, some other things before practice gets going. But that's that responsibility, right? You're teaching a kid, hey, go clean your room. I don't have to micromanage you to clean your room. You know how to clean your room. I'll show you once or twice. Go down the checklist, clean your room. I do the same thing at work. New engineer starts fresh out of college. You got to teach them how to do it. And you're going to send them off for 8 hours and they're going to do something wrong. And then you say, all right, this is what you did wrong. This is how we fix it. Let's try again tomorrow when you walk in. It's the same. I mean, that you're building them for life. Hey, you fender bended someone. Let's get out there and try again. This is how you should be driving out here. Let's go through another driving class. It's all the same stuff, man. Tufts, when you were in college at the time, so I coached the Port Orange. I don't think I put Port Orange Panthers. I didn't really talk about my coaching.
No, you didn't say it, dude.
Shout out Port Orange Panthers.
Not proud of your
created by Antoine Brown. That was during college with Anderson freaking Velasquez. Shout out Anderson Velasquez, who's 8 hours different of us over there in is it Norway? I feel bad for not knowing, but over there in Norway, good for him. Should have got him on here at 3 a.m, whatever time it is. But yeah, I was still invested. I felt the same during college coaching those kids as I did with Brady. But obviously, instead of my job, I had baseball to focus on. So it was even more emotional. I would probably say I was more emotional at that time. I was a lot more stoic, I would say, as a coach afterwards. I tried to embody, the Dave Thurno, the Brady Bogart, and kind of use it wisely. And then, motivate you as I need to. When did you guys start doing like practice plans? Did you guys ever incorporate that? Whoever was running them through there or with Team Orlando?
Yeah. So, I mean, really, I've always been fortunate. I've never had to run practices on my own. We normally have multiple teams out there at the same time, so we do a lot of the same stuff. It's, we get out there, we stretch, we throw, start with basic in and out, little stuff like that you kind of just you learn, and then by the second and third practice you don't have to really say anything. Obviously you get a little bit individualized, kind of later in practice you split up, infielders go, pitchers go one way, little stuff like that. But for the most part, we kind of, even if we don't never posted it, we always had a plan. I would always get with my other coach, or the guy that runs the organization coaches the 14U team. So I practiced with him for the last 2-3 seasons, and he always has a plan ready. So
Nice.
It's definitely a lot easier that way, instead of just like, all right, what are we going to do today? And then you kind of, because then you start doing things that you're just trying to fill time, not actually trying to, work on things that they can improve on. So I think having a plan going in it's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, and mine was even like at 9 years old is when I was a little bit more hectic, and I would say with the Panthers with Anderson too, because we were just, it was during school, it was kind of hard to do that. I don't know how they let two 21-year-olds just go coach a team, but it was fun. We did pretty fun. And a lot of those guys are going to college now, so that's fun to see. Like I work with one of the guys' dads. He's going to Savannah State. I think he's trying to play football and baseball, which is cool.
Yeah, it was me and Demarest coaching a team, so if that tells you anything.
That's tough. I bet you had a couple Saturday mornings that you had to go knock on Demarest's door and wake him up to get him to the game. I was waking up Jagar. Jagar was getting pissed because he was living with Anderson, and 6:30 in the morning knocking on the apartment door. Come on, Anderson. He goes, Bobo, I don't want to go. I was like, dude, we got to go. You can sleep in the car.
You've committed. You got to do it.
Come on. I know. I would drag him. I'd let him sleep. He'd snoozing until he gets there. He's like, hey, who's pitching? I don't know, man. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Where was I going with that? The structure of it, I think just like us looking at our parents and looking at other players or other coaches as we were going, you're going to mirror whoever you're looking up to. So it wasn't even about like having a good structure and doing the drills, because the plan could have been bad, right? I was always a year ahead. I was like trying to expose them to these cool new things that they might not get exposed to, even in high school, depending on where they go, drills or whatever it is, or setups. So like we would just have a whole practice of failing. I remember we tried to do rundowns, like 10U or 9U, Brady, one of the rundown drills to where you're snaking through and everyone's going. Someone got hit in the face. That happens many times in youth baseball. And then we're just sitting there going, we just wasted 30 minutes, and I think we got worse, to be honest with you. And yeah, the actual tactical execution of those is fine. It was more of the structure. I remember getting told that by a couple parents. Just like from a parenting perspective, they're just like, yeah, we get up, we have a bedtime, we go through all these things. And it wasn't even sport parents. It was like, we do this with our kids just as, they like that structure. They crave for that structure, because then their day becomes predictable. It's not a surprise to them. And then they can master the day like they want to. They want to do good. They want to do what daddy does. They want to do what the coach does. So I was like, okay, let's come prepared, come organized. I would put the pressure on them. Ball on your court, come prepared, come organized, come wanting to go look at their practice plan. Go, okay, what are we doing today? I'm excited. Let's go. So it was almost more of a surprise to have the practice plan, because they're looking forward to something and that they don't know what it is, which is good. So, and we definitely saw exponential growth once that happened. I would feel like, just because the kids were prepared for what they were doing, even though they forget, they would forget after stretching what the practice plan was. But that was fun. Fun times, Brady. I miss it, but I don't miss it. I miss it, but I don't miss it. I can tell you that.
I miss it.
And hanging out with you, buddy, was fun. The grind with you, I don't get that anymore.
Yeah. There were some good times.
Stop it! You're gonna make me cry and
learn
come out of retirement, dude. You're gonna make me come out of retirement, man. Boy, you're not the first person to tell me that this week. Surprisingly.
Bogey's about to go sign up for the Little League and just.
That probably, I'd go be a volunteer umpire at Little League in DeLand before I did anything else. Go have some fun with it.
Umpires, that's a different story, man.
Tossing.
That's a different story.
I don't know how long I would last. I would just toss everyone. You're out. What are they gonna do? All right. The game of baseball is crazy, man, and it meant so much to me playing. And then, like you said, the rug gets pulled out, your stop sign comes, you break your hand, you blow out your elbow, you get released from a team, whatever happens, the stop sign comes. During that time, I guess, what are those times for kids? It's changing now, right? You got banana ball, you got pitch clocks, you got bigger bases, you got all these things happening in the world of baseball. You got tournaments where you're playing 3 games a day just to win a silver bracket tournament, stuff like that. What kind of irks you? What are some things that kind of rub you the wrong way? And this could go back to when you first started playing travel ball. Let's go to college. It could be MLB rules. It could be stuff you're seeing coaching. It doesn't have to be rule oriented either. It can be vibes. It can be vibe oriented. What's rubbing you the wrong way these days? It can be the obvious. I mean, there's plenty to pick from, I think.
I think today's game it's a different game. Parents these days it's me. What can this team do to better my kid? And if it's not the right answer, they'll go find another team. And when that team does the same thing, you go find another team from there. You're just bouncing around, and you're not really giving the kid a chance to play with a group of kids consistently. That way they can grow with those kids. They're just kind of bouncing around, and the kid doesn't know any better. They're doing what their parent tells them to do. So, but I think, I don't know, because it turns into, why is my kid not playing? Well, your kid just threw 80 pitches the game before. Like, we got to give his arm a break. And they're upset and wonder why they're not playing. And you're like, you got to take care of the kids. Like, I don't know. There's just a disconnect in today's game that sometimes how many times are we seeing kids, like young kids, have to, Little League elbow, or, God forbid, by high school, how many kids are getting Tommy John in high school because they're not, like, their parents are just out there playing baseball 24/7. I have kids that, even on my team, that we play 2 tournaments a month, and the other 2 weekends they're going to find guest tournaments to play in. Like, it's stuff like that. Like, you can't, the parents are really kind of selfish, and they're really only thinking about themselves, not what the kid may want to do.
Yeah. And that goes on to a different conversation of, I've seen on a couple of different, some of the older guys, the older Christian guys on the interwebs, saying like parents are catering to their kid. And I talked about this with my dad on the Father's Day episode. Go check that out. But I was like, what did you guys do? And now, don't get me wrong, we had a great life. My parents grinded. Somehow, 4 kids, 2 teacher salaries. My dad was on and off with coaching, moving around. I don't know how they did it. Thankful every day that they did. They did it how they did it. But he was like, we loved you guys, right? And it was about you guys having a good life. Now, I came back and kind of saved them because they didn't spoil us by any means. Now, did we get treated nice and have good Christmases and all that stuff? Yeah. For what it was, yes, 100%. But it wasn't like, okay, Cody, what are we doing today? Let's run like, you're running I'm not giving orders. We would follow the orders that they would graciously give us, right? They were on the offensive of saying, I'm going to do these things for you. This is why. And even though they didn't say this is why at the time, they would explain it to us in the long run. And that's where the patience and the thoughtful coaching, I think, comes from with all of us, that we can explain to people. But yeah, it's not hey, I want to go guest play this weekend. It'd be like, dude, you don't need to go guest play. You need to rest. You need to go hit in the cage. You need to mow the grass. You need to rest and like be a kid too. Because now it becomes that job way too soon. And that was the hardest adjustment for me in college, was it became that job. You have to go win that job. That was the hardest adjustment for me in college. And I think it suffered the most out of me because I put so much undue pressure on myself, which I was prepared for. I don't know why I did that, but I was so prepared for it. And then I squeezed myself for 4 years, just trying to, and a part of that was the yips, and we can talk about that later. But part of that was me losing the trust of the coaching staff because I couldn't throw back to the pitcher for a couple weeks. And then it was me just forcing to try to win a job. And you don't want to make that happen like that for a kid. So that's like that balance of you're sitting, this is why you're sitting, here's your turn next. You're not going to ride the pine all weekend unless there's a good reason. And we'll tell you that good reason, and we'll I was always rooting for the kids. I wanted to pinch hit for kids and throw them in there like it was a plus 2,000 bet to win a golf tournament and just gamble on it and say, let's get out there, do something cool. Happened twice in Cooperstown, Brady. Those kids came off the bench and popped one out. And we're like, heck yeah, that's what we wanted. That happened with me too.
It's a mindset of telling kids, hey, always be ready. Like, yeah, you may not be sitting this game, but you're going to get in at some point. Like, you got to be ready when your number's called.
100%. And it's different when you're a grown man and I can handle my emotions. And I was like, I'm going to be ready to go when I get this pinch hit opportunity. Randy did it with me. He knew I was pissed off and ready to go, and he'd give me a chance. And same thing. You may be pissed off, you may be whatever, but I'll give you your fair chance, and you got to earn your chances, just like we used to tell everyone.
I had a 15-year-old this summer trying to use that as an excuse on why he didn't perform. He was our normal first baseman. In the one game I set him, there was a situation with bases loaded. I ended up having him come pitch hit, and he struck out, I think, looking. And while I'm tossing BP the next day, I hear him talking to another kid, pretty much blaming the strikeout on him, on it being a pinch hit opportunity, like he wasn't ready. And I'm like, dude,
reap what you sow, man.
That's on you, buddy. Like,
yeah.
Always got to be ready.
Yeah, and then kind of non-baseball thing. The thing the cosmetics of the game have just been like, kids are more worried about what they look like. The days of just going to Target and getting a Easton pair of batting gloves just so you have something is long gone. Like, you have the biggest, slowest kid on your team who wants a sliding mitt because everybody else has one. You're like it's stuff like that you're like, come on, dude, like, be realistic with yourself.
Yeah. It's
They always gotta
I'm all about a little bit of fun. I never shot it down too much. We did the pants up thing, clean shaven, 10-year-olds clean shaven. We wanted to make sure that they were looking good. But like, I want to look like a team and a unit, right? Like, the military's not out there with, sliding mitts and, bedazzled stuff, man. They all got the same stuff on. They're operating as a core unit. Now, the special ops guys, they have some cool stuff. They wear some different things, maybe a little ultra thing, but they're special ops guys.
They've
right? Same thing. Like, Bryce Harper wears the oven mitt and wears all these things, but that's special ops. Like,
he's earned the right to do that.
Yeah. Like me using a Pro V1 versus using a noodle long and soft doesn't matter on the golf course. It would for Bryson DeChambeau, but it wouldn't for me. The noodles long and soft are good enough for me.
The amount of kids I saw trying to hit BP before games in like slides or flip-flops this summer was insane.
Number one pet peeve. That's day one practice. Do not wear Crocs and slides to my field.
Dude, they have to have laces. You have to have laces it's a sport. Have laces.
You just have to have the ankle support, to be honest. Like, if you're taking a swing, I don't understand how these kids are fine with.
Now, you grew up over there in Citrus County like I did, and you got Sumter County and like someone's like hitting barefoot.
You got some strong ankles out there.
Yeah, I would allow, like, if you're like, Coach, I hit better when I feel the earth. That's what I'm saying. That'd be something you're like, okay, this guy's on a different level.
This guy's on to something right here. Yeah.
If you're showing up in turquoise Crocs with the little gizmos and gadgets on it,
legitimately, like slides.
What are they called? What are those things called that you put in the Crocs?
I know charms. You guys know.
Yeah, charms. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when they take them off and hang them from their bat, like, come on out.
You want to let everyone know you have those. That's stuff that I would tell these kids. I'd probably call it soft bullying, but it was like big brother bully these kids in a fun way, because I'd let them do it back to me to a point. Like, if it was off the field, we were waiting around, especially in Cooperstown, that was fun. But it's that little, like, talk to them almost like a peer, but talk to them like a baseball player would get talked to in high school or college, to where you're getting toughened up, you're getting respectfully checked, you're respectfully checking back, you're building that camaraderie that you just. When the women say, I don't understand men, you're building that part of them. Like, we need that. We need to be not understood sometimes by women, and that's what you got to teach these kids. So,
Cody, kind of going back to what you were saying about having to earn your spot, I feel like that is one thing in the game that is just, I don't know if it's like something that irks me, but it's something that I've noticed at least different from when we were growing up. Especially probably you in like a small town, but there was only one travel ball team, right? Like if you weren't good enough to make that team, or if you were sitting on that team, like you didn't have 10 other teams that you could fall back and try to join. So like you had to get better, because if you wanted to play travel baseball, you had to be good enough to play on that team. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like there's so many backup options. Like if you make a team playing PG tournaments, I'm sure there's another team in your area playing USSSA, and then another one playing GOB, and you can like keep falling down down the ladder, getting surrounded by like worse baseball just because you're not happy being on trying to earn your spot on a good team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only two factions of the baseball society that have benefited from all these competitive tournaments have been the competitive tournaments themselves making the money, but then the top tier players getting all the accolades, the attention, the tweets, and the scouting, right? Like the best and the people that do it and the best players are the ones reaping the benefit. Now, does it make the lower kid more, better at baseball? Yeah, if done the right way, you get exposed to better talent, you get motivated, and you face better talent, right? I mean, that it builds that, but yeah, it's been so just pumped up and just on a railroad track, and no one's stopping it, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. It didn't even stop for COVID. They somehow still managed to live through that. It's almost even gotten worse, but I mean, the popularity of the game's up, so you can't hate that. You want more people in the game, right? It's like golf struggling to try to get people involved. We don't have to make baseball super crazy. They made the bananas, which is kind of crazy, like the live golf or a little different version of baseball, but that's more of like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. So, and they're having fun. I like watching them. It's a good time, but they know what it is. They're not trying to be real baseball. They're just trying to be fun baseball. Because real baseball sucks. 70% of the time it sucks.
Yep.
90% of the time when you're in a slump.
Yep.
And 100% of the time when you're on the bench. So you're always trying to find a way to get out there. Crazy. But what are some good things? What have you guys had anything enlightening recently that you're like, man, this really makes me want to get up and come to practice the next day, and it really makes me want to stick with it next year, next New Year's resolution? No, nothing. Not fun at all.
I feel like the kids who are like really in it, just the amount of access that they have to information that can help their game, I think is exciting. Because I wish we would have had like this. I wish I would have been able to just look up YouTube videos of professional swings back in the day when I was playing, or like something like that. Like,
and we could. It was just those grainy highlights. It wasn't like guys trying to teach you how to hit.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that's something else, like the TikTok baseball lesson type stuff. That's not even what I'm talking about. But
are you on there?
I don't.
Put the handle.
No, I've never. I've never recorded any lessons, but I just feel like
you have.
That was one thing.
You're on YouTube, aren't you? Ormond Beach Little League.
Yeah, I am. I am.
Go check it out. Go check it out.
Rec ball. Go check it out.
Those videos might have more views than mine.
That was like 6 or 7 years ago. But yeah, I just see the guys that like just this summer, I had a kid coming up to me talking about like a video that he watched that kind of helped him figure out something with his swing and all that stuff. And it just, I don't know. I wish we would have had stuff like that, or at least I wish it would have been more accessible.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Like we practice, the team I coach, we have a field practice, but then we have a whole facility that we work out of. There's cages and they have, everything they want in there. You can go get, the for pitchers, the spin rate and all the money ball side of it, the analytics of everything that back when kind of we were in high school, it was just like, hey, you throw strikes, you throw hard, bam, you're like, this is it.
Pretty much.
That was it. Like, it's not like, oh, let's look at spin rate and you have this percentage doing this. Like, it's just the game's come a long way. So like the kids that take advantage of that's the cool stuff to see. Like, I'll be in there coaching and stuff, and 2 cages down is a kid in there taking swings by himself. No one else is around. That's the stuff that you like to see. You're like, hey, like, he's invested in his future. And then you got kids that they show the only time they pick up a ball is practice or game time. And you're like, you're not going to get any better doing that. So
the hard part is telling a kid that it's obvious that that's what's happening. Right. And like, we never picked on people just for having a bad day at practice, because we could tell you were just having a bad day at practice. And they're kids, they do. But yeah, to tell a kid that, like, it's Tuesday, Thursday for 2 hours and we just scrimmaged the whole time. You didn't even swing the bat once in your 2 at-bats. You walked and you struck out looking. Like, how did you get better today? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff, man. But I definitely like the idea of travel baseball. I mean, I'm glad we did it when we did it. We played Little League for a couple years. And my dad said, you know what, hey, this thing's happening. Let's go try this out. And yeah, we rallied the troops in our small county and did our best. The stories I heard over here of guys playing travel baseball at the same time I was, it sounded like the competition was a lot better over here, at least in Volusia County, which I was unaware of.
I'd like to say it was pretty competitive.
Yeah. I mean, the high schools have been, and they've produced quite a bit of good players. I mean, you're just north of Orlando and Sanford and all those areas that are always good. Lake Mary, who's booming right now in baseball, softball. So it's definitely in this area. Central Florida baseball is on the map, has been. So I want to pivot a little bit and go for the love of the game, America's pastime. Give me a past player, me, little Brady, little Corey. Who are you guys watching on TV, hearing about? Whose trading card did you really want? Did you even do trading cards? And then who's a player that you're looking at now that's like, this guy really makes me excited?
For me, I didn't really start pitching until I got to the big field. I was always third base, right field. But the one guy growing up was always my favorite. Was, obviously as a Braves fan, Chipper Jones is what comes up. But kind of outside of that was, Nomar Garciaparra was my dude that I loved to watch him. Even something, he every time he got out of the bat, it's something like that you see they have the habits and stuff like that. But just watching him play, and it was kind of out of nowhere. It's just kind of someone I picked up and started watching that really, makes you love the game. And then kind of today's game, it's a whole different story. Kind of a name that isn't really huge, but, Braves guy, Spencer Schwellenbach, kind of an up and comer. He's been, had a couple of injuries this year, but he's someone that for the most part, he goes about it the right way. So
how's it going?
You wave to Cody and Brady.
That's your main priority. Not watching much baseball with Frozen going on in the background the whole podcast.
Well, the Braves kind of sucked this year, so I honestly haven't watched too much baseball this year.
I got into Frozen too because the Braves have been sucking so bad this year, man. It's crazy. They need to make a third one already.
He's been watching it on his own.
Yeah. What a cutie.
I don't know.
She's a creature of habit.
I bet. Gets it from her dad. You didn't have any weird tendencies before you pitched. Like Zach Groats used to come up all the way to the foul line. I'm sure he still does, and wipe something or say something in Spanish. I don't know.
No, kind of the only kind of weird. It's not even a tendency. Is baseball superstitions to me are they're kind of a thing. One, I don't know if you remember, every time you run out to the mound, you hop over the line. Don't touch the line going out to the field.
Yeah, you were
always skip. Yeah. And then something I did since high school is, my grandpa passed away when I was in high school. So I would always, kind of kneel down, kind of write his initials on the back of the mound every single game, every single inning. So it's something like he was with me. So superstition wise, that's kind of what I did. And, every time I pitched too, it's kind of weird that if I wasn't pitching, I didn't really care. I would just wear, every time I was pitching, it was stirrups. That's just, even in high school, I always had stirrups on. So it's little stuff like that, I don't know, superstitions. And I feel like kids in today's game, like you tell them, hey, when you're warming up, don't step on the line. And they look at you like, well, why not? And you're like, just don't do it.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that that's what you wrote behind the mound. That's crazy. I just found that out. Yeah. He saw a couple of my balls fly over his initials then. That's probably why I didn't notice, man. I was so worried about just hitting you in the chest or in the reach. Didn't realize you were doing that. That's cool. I know, yeah, that's a good go-to one. I see a lot of guys in remembrance. You gotta dig deep and find your motivation. I was on the hat guy. I wasn't a Bible verse guy on the hat. But I was my uncle died freshman year, which kind of goes into the whole Yip story. I don't want to bum out the podcast, but he died that season. That's when I went over there back home to the funeral, and then flew out to meet you guys at Auburn Montgomery. And then that's when it really took off, and I couldn't throw it back.
Was that the freezing game?
Yeah, I showed up. I slept on the middle of the two beds because I didn't want to wake up Cavender or Hughes. I was like, these guys are older. They're definitely playing tomorrow, not me.
I remember.
I ride some weird 30-minute taxi ride from the airport in the like 1:00 in the morning. I get there at 2:00. We wake up at 6 and go
in the middle of Montgomery, Alabama.
It's 28 degrees and sleeting. And Randy's like, Bogart, you're going. I go, dude, this is crazy. Yeah. And then I needed to throw the ball everywhere but our pitcher. I will tell you one story about that one because that was one of the funniest ones that happened. So I'm going. I think Wag's got the brunt of it, man. I hope he's doing okay. It looks like he is, but man, he got the brunt of it. Hopefully, I didn't affect him too much.
That was a Davenport game.
Yeah. No, that was the other one. I'm talking about in Auburn Montgomery. It was Wags. Yeah. That was when it started. Like it started a little bit with you and Warner, but or Weber, and but it was Wags and Auburn Montgomery, and man, I was like spiking them. Usually it was like an airmail. I was spiking them back to Wags. I remember Randy walks out there to the mound and he's looking at Wags, but he's talking to me, one of those things. And he's like, what the F is going on? What's going on out here? You got to figure this out. This is crazy. I've never seen this before. He goes, you do it one more time, you're out. And I go, oh crap. I go back. We get a pitch in. I throw it back over into the ground, and Wags kind of ground balled it, PFP'd it. And I looked over real quick and he didn't see it. I got to live another game. A couple went by. And I remember vividly that game going, please hit the ball. Like I was praying for guys just to hit the ball. And it was like I wasn't even turning around to ask the umpire for a foul tip. It was like, you throw it, big dog. I'll take this one.
How were the throwdowns, Cody?
Fine.
Like during this time, everything was fine?
Never better, I would say.
That's
just
crazy.
Couldn't throw it the 60 feet 6 inches back.
No, Brady, and I'm a smart guy, Brady. So I go, oh, I can throw it hard. So I would just throw bullets back to these guys, but I couldn't last all game. So at some point, I had to simmer it down.
Nothing beats the game Bogart
crazy
got pulled.
What the brain can do.
Bogart got pulled, and Randy goes, you're going to the bullpen. And the rest of the game, he's out in left field in the bullpen throwing back to the pitcher. And you hear the other team in the other dugout that they're just chirping at him from the dugout. Every time Bogart would throw that was every time he threw it over the fence, you knew it even if you weren't looking because they were chirping at him.
Brady, they were the ones with me behind the plate. I am just struggling to stay alive at this point. And they're like, yip, 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 yip. And I just I'm laughing because I'm just like, this is nuts.
Yeah, at that point, it really was like, it kind of was what it was. Like you couldn't even.
They remembered the following years, man. They would come back and people were still like, yip, yip. I'm like, dude, that's crazy, man. It was crazy. Hey, better off for it, man. Character building.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Nothing beats the World Series that year, though.
The World Series was sick, dude. I think you were pitching.
But I remember we're in the dugout. Maxon's sick. Maxon's throwing up in the dugout.
Everything he's got.
Randy goes, "You better figure it out because you're going in."
But apparently he couldn't. And then I'm warming you up in Tufts with no cup on, just a mask. Throwing it okay. At that point, I was over it.
That World Series run was fun.
That was an epic year. But Chuck comes out, he's reaching over, he's like, "Bogart, what are you doing?" I go, "Warming up Tufts." He goes, "Gear up, you're in." I go, "Oh, for having did that." The words that came out of Randy's mouth as I left that dugout, and these were sunken in dugouts. So I'm going up. We did our break. He was like, "Let's go. Hoorah, hoorah, let's do it." I go out there. He goes, "Bogart." I was like, "Yes, sir." He goes, I don't know if I can say this, but he goes, "Don't be a pussy. Have fun out there."
It's your podcast, Cody.
I know, but this one I was going to mark made for kids because maybe they want to learn about stuff from the best coach in Volusia County. You ever heard of him? Yeah, dude, Brady and I used to call ourselves that to make ourselves feel a little bit better. But also, like, when I walked out on the field, I'm like, I'm the best catcher today. Like, it was just that little, I'm the best catcher today.
What was the reasoning for you, like, pinch catching, coming in late in the game?
That game, I didn't pinch catch. I started that game.
He started.
You were
because Maxon had food poisoning and Dalton's face was broken.
So you were just warming up Tufts?
Yeah, I was just like that. There's I didn't. No one told me that, which is probably better. No one told me that Maxon was even like sick. I didn't know.
You had to figure it out,
which was fine. They just threw me out there, and I hit my first extra base hit that year, double off the wall right after Hunter Brule popped one out. Hunter Brule had a hell of a postseason.
Yeah, he carried us that
I remember that game because we're all sitting up there in the stands waiting for our turn. It was right before that game. It was me, Anderson, and Hunter sitting there. Anderson, he's like, "Bobo, you just need to pull the ball." Because I was always like an oppo backside kind of guy coming into it. I turned into more of a pull guy after that. And it's like, "You just need to get the bat head out. Just pull the ball." I go, "Okay, I'll do that." He looks at Hunter Brule. He said, "Hunter, you just need to hit it over the center fielder's head or something like that." Or he says, "Just kind of like launch it." And Anderson's like, "I need to go the other way. Like I need to stay on it and go the other way." Dude, we did that every batter in a row. So like, I'm pretty sure Anderson got on by going the other way. Hunter hit a bomb, and I'm going, I got to follow this up. And they put up on the jumbotron like who's hitting and your batting average and stuff, and it says Cody Bogart, number 33. 173 batting average, no doubles, 10 hits or some shit, whatever it was. I'm like, here we go. My dad took a picture. Yeah. That's how crazy my dad is. He's there. He traveled all the way up to Idaho, and he took a picture of that thing going, that was my favorite part. And I go, 173, baby, not even my weight.
It's funny. It's funny you say that.
We all did the thing. Like, we all did the thing. It was like Anderson he was a fish whisperer, could catch some fish, but man, was he a baseball whisperer too.
It's funny you say that about the batting average. So I remember World Series time, I had a picture of my name. I was going in, and I think I handed my phone to Demers, who's in the bullpen, and he so I said, "Hey man, like, I'm about to go out." I said, "Take a picture when my name comes up." So he does it, and I send it to Elizabeth, my wife, and so she had seen it and all this stuff. So then I think the next day we're playing for the Final Four. We're going to play Lewis and Clark. And I posted on Instagram, and the only caption she goes and comments on it, she goes, "Wow, look at that ERA," and it was like a 4.5, and I'm like, God, you couldn't even give me one chance to shine.
Hey, a 4.5 in our conference in a year is good.
Yeah,
that's good.
What year was this?
Honestly, my down year.
World Series.
Yeah, it was freshman
15,
year.
I graduated in 16, so 14, 15, yeah.
Your freshman year?
Freshman year. Yeah. Dude, it was crazy, man. And I tell people this all the time. Not all the time. I actually don't tell a lot of people this, but like, I went to college going, I'm going to win this spot. I'm like, once Darryl Knight got drafted, I'm like, job's open. Like, free range. I knew I was going to be sitting if Darryl Knight was still there. Jeez, man, was that guy a beast. But I was like, job's open. I'm going to go there. I don't want a red shirt. I want to start. I want to go play ball. Now, was that probably the best thing to do? Probably not. But that was my goal, and I did it. I was a Fall American. I learned what that term was very quickly. Fall American, hit everyone. Tyler Sears, Zach Grodes, Arturo. I hit everyone, man. And then some of the best arms I've ever seen. Then I pooped the bed. So,
was Burkhead there yet? at that point.
Dude, if Arturo could have figured it out in school and Burkhead stayed healthy all year, we win the World Series.
Burkhead was there that year. He got hurt.
Yeah. I'll even throw it out, if I stay mentally healthy, we maybe get a catcher that's hitting a little bit and Dalton doesn't get hit. If that happens, then that's 2 more bats, because he started hitting too that freshman year.
Yeah, because that was just a wild year. Because if we get past LC in the Final Four, we win the whole thing. Because we played St. Thomas, we would have played St. Thomas, who we went 4-2 the regular season against, and they had no pitching. But LC was that's a different breed sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's playoff baseball, man. But that was one of the more fun baseball experiences. That and playing in front of 20,000 people with Willie Robertson coaching the team of ex-pro leaguer guys from Duck Dynasty. Willie Robertson, crazy.
Did you meet him?
After the game, we were like, good game. He's like, good game. I know, thanks.
That's pretty cool.
They're all hunting buddies. That's Jeff Francoeur, when the White Sox said he can't have his son in the locker room anymore at the field. Jeff was like, fine, I'll retire. And then they started their Butt Commander stuff, and he's friends with a couple other pro leaguer guys, and like Jason, they might be Jason Aldean, but I know it's Luke Bryan and like Willie Robertson. So
I gotcha.
It's a cool team. They tear it up every year. I mean, they're 40-something years old, still tearing it up. Roger Clemens just splitter, and it's crazy. So it was good times. So we can end here soon, and I appreciate you guys' time. I wanted to end with an almost ejection. This could be one that you saw. This could be one that you actually got ejected. It could be any story you want to say that was a fun, just the emotions got the better of us. I'll mix one and two. Brady was there for one of them. Probably the only one, coaching-wise. But or you can tell it. I'd love to hear your perspective. I've already told it once on this podcast. So 17 people have already.
Wait, which one was it?
Yeah, thanks for watching, dude. Appreciate it, man.
Dude, I feel like there's been multiple. You're selling yourself short. I feel like there's been a few moments.
We're trying to crank them out, man. We're out of 10. This is 11. We'll be at the dirty dozen next time. So we're 20. 20 is the number. As Camp and I have heard, he's like, you gotta get to 20. Then after that, who knows what happens? Maybe I can quit my job.
I'm talking about the podcast. I'm talking about you almost getting ejected, dude. I feel like
there's not more. About? The Cooperstown one is one that lives rent free in my head. But other than that,
with Mick.
Yeah, I should have been ejected. That's the one where I should have been ejected. I should have got kicked out of Cooperstown that game. But I want to hear from Tufts, because he actually got the frozen rope.
Go for it,
Tufts.
Oh,
I don't want it to affect your recruiting at Team Orlando or nothing.
No. It's funny because my wife calls me Randy Jr.
I can see that.
Yeah, so I take a lot of So I'm kind of a smartass when I talk to umpires, and sometimes I get ejected, and there's no reason why, and then there's some reasons that I earned it. So what's your number? What's your number? I think I'm at 7 ejections.
All right, continue.
Yeah.
Not going to argue with you.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a quick one I'll give you a quick one of both. So one where I probably should have been ejected. I'm down in Port St. Louis at a tournament. Umpire just terrible all day. And, most times I'm just kind of chirping at him all day, all game long. Like, I'm not doing anything that's kind of stand out, but I'm just chirping and chirping. Eventually there's a plate at the plate. I don't even remember all the details. He called it, whatever the case is. I go out there. We start to get into a little bit. And then when I'm walking back to the dugout, like, he's like chirping to my catcher about it. And I can hear him as I'm walking away. And I like called time. I walked out there. I go, you're not going to talk to him. I said, if anything, you're talking to me. Like, we're like, that's like, I'm the one. And, he just wouldn't throw me out. Like, I just kept going and going and going. So I go and sit on the bucket. And the one move that if you want me to get ejected immediately, and it's happened to me 3 times now, is like, when they go like, hey, play ball, they look directly at me when they do it. Like they will look at me on the bucket. And this one time I looked at the guy and said, I know I'm pretty, but the game's out there. Like I'm doing everything to get canned from this game, and it just was not happening.
Brady can fact check me. I might have used that one too before.
Yeah. And then the wildest ejection I have was just last season. I'm coaching feeder ball. It's just kind of a middle school thing. One of my kids steals second base. Umpire goes, I don't know if I saw the tag, but he's out. And I go,
like you said that before he made the call.
Yeah. He goes, I don't know if I saw the tag, but he's out.
Hey, by the way, guys, I don't know if I saw it, but
I kind of paused and I'm like, what did you just say? And he's like, oh, did I upset you that I said it that way? And I go, just call him out next time. Like, I don't care. So then like the next inning, balls and strikes, not all over the place. And he goes, if I had a tighter strike zone, he goes, we would be here all day. And I'm like, dude, we've had 12 walks in 4 innings. What do you mean if you had a tighter strike zone? So then we're like a couple innings later, I'm still chirping at him, and he goes, oh, you must have been a Kamala voter. I'm like, hold on. So I stopped, and I walked in the middle of the field, and I'm like, I said, this ain't about politics. I said, this is about the kids and all this stuff. He's like, oh, you're going to have to get out of here. And I go, I ain't getting out of here unless you make me. Then he turned around and tossed me. So. But
did you vote for her? No, I'm just kidding.
but like who says that?
That is pretty wild. You're a youth sport umpire. Like, come on.
Yeah. So that's smart. And I mean, Bubba, I could probably go on for another 20 minutes with all my ejections, but I was actually in Daytona once. The Bethune Point fields that are over there. Play at third base. Umpire goes, he called him out, or he called a kid out, and he goes, I wasn't in the right position. And I'm like, well, that's your job to get in position. And he's like, do you want me to throw you out? And I go, no, not really, but you got to do what you got to do. And he goes, all right, you're gone. I'm like, I see. That's all it took. So you can tell the umpires that you can kind of push the line with, and then some that just go on power trips.
There are some that are soft-skinned, and there's some that are thick-skinned. That's basically what it boils down to. The soft-skinned ones somehow, for some reason, want to amplify the situation. And they're the ones that are looking at you, petty. Just blocked my camera. What kind of camera awareness is that? But there's some that are looking at you, and then there's some that are just like, all right, is that you got it out, coach? All right, move on. Let's go. Let's keep the game going.
You can normally tell a lot. You just chirping at them throughout the game. You can kind of scope it out before it gets too bad. But
that's exactly like Chuck and Randy. They would edge him until it actually mattered, and they know how much they can. And most
times, if an umpire goes, "All right, that's your warning," I will shut up and I won't say a word the rest of the time. But then you got some that are just quick hook without saying a word, and you're like, that's what we're getting at.
So what about you, Brady? If you don't have one for yourself, you can tell a story of Coach Cody if you'd like. I don't mind. We're in the pursuit. I don't know if you guys know the tagline, but it's the pursuit of perspective. So if you have a different perspective on me talking nonsense to an umpire, I want to hear it.
Think that I've personally ever been tossed, like playing or coaching. I think the closest that I got to getting tossed, or at least like to the level of like, I don't care if I get tossed right now, was that, I don't know if you remember this, Cody, but that game in New Smyrna Beach,
playing that loud team.
There was like a play to end the game. I think it was like a drop third strike, and he didn't. The umpire didn't call it, and our catcher like tossed the ball back to the pitcher's mound or something like that. Do you remember what exactly happened with that play? But I just remember it being completely wrong. And
what happened was, we weren't wrong. We were right. The umpire was wrong, but if he's wrong, the play is what the play is. That was the position we were at. So it was a swinging third strike. It bounced, or it was close to bouncing, and Barron, caught it, right? And he looked back. The guy didn't run to first base. He was like, everyone looked back, and the guy goes, "Oh, it was a younger guy." I'm always a little bit softer on the younger guys. I know they're doing their best. I just want them to be confident. Whenever I go out there, I'm like, man, just be more confident next time, and I leave. But he was like, out. So Anderson was like, Barron was like, cool. And he's like, yeah, toss it up. We won the game. Heck yeah, move on. Well, there's a runner on second or third that was hauling butt around, and the coach late was like, go. And then, like, we had a meeting, and like after the guy scored, the field umpire was like, no, it wasn't. He didn't drop it. He's runner's out or whatever, or safe or whatever. Game over. But the guy never went and touched first base. Like the runner never went. Like the runner wasn't safe. It was 3 outs. I'm like, how? What are we making up rules here for? I was like, get Vinny over here now. And I remember you started it because he was
That was the hottest I think I've ever been coaching.
And I do remember telling you to back. I do remember telling you to back away because as the head coach, I got to do that. But
I was losing my mind that game.
You were. You're about to say some things.
What's that?
You're about to say some things you regret probably. So I said,
yeah, probably.
Because I can still, besides the Mick game, even though if you mic'd me up for that Mick game, which I'm sure the people at home could hear me, I think on the live stream, man, I didn't cuss at all, but man, was I just on Mick's ass.
Dude, it was every pitch. I feel like it was.
Let me preface it because you weren't at the home plate meeting. So it's the last game of the day, Tufts in Cooperstown. Did you coach at Cooperstown?
No.
Okay, so we're the last game of the day.
It's raining all day too. Like it rained.
It started late.
Game, like,
it was the shitty, cold Cooperstown day. We're playing a team like this game mattered. They were a really good team. It was this game depended whether we had to play 3 or 2 games the next day, which would have been huge for our pitching staff. Like huge.
Yeah, it would have been a difference maker for sure.
We're playing the best baseball we've played ever, and this guy comes over late. They're like, "Hey, we don't have an umpire. The umpire was sick or not feeling well or whatever. We had to get another one." So this guy comes over. He looks like the Monopoly man, like white mustache, little guy.
Literally,
like fine. Like it started off fine, and then he goes, "Hey, I'm over here doing a favor. I'm gonna have a big zone. Keep things moving fast and whatever." And he was like, "Let's just like." He had a good like the way he was setting up the game. Like, oh, this will be a well-run, good game, and a nice guy. I was like, perfect. Let's go. We have Barron, like our guy on the mound. He's like 6 foot tall at the time somehow.
Did Barron start that game?
Yes, I thought. Right? Or was it Nemitz? I thought it was Barron.
It might have been Barron.
I thought it was Barron, and we had like what's his face?
I think I remember Jordan pitching at one time. But I think
either way,
was at the end of the game.
We had a guy that was throwing strikes, and our catcher was right down the middle. I said, set up right down the middle. Let's get the ball in play because it's a bad weather day. Let's just get the ball. Went the pitcher throwing strikes. He balls like our catcher does not move, and he's a little guy. I knew it wasn't Barron because Barron can sometimes make you deceiving because he's got the long arms. It was like Bowman, like right in front of his face. I'm like, where are those balls, Mick? So. Like after the first walk, I was like, "This is like, what are we doing here?" You just told me. Like, I think I called him a liar at one point. But it was like when Apollo Creed was fighting the Russian, and Rocky Balboa was in the corner with Mick. It was just Mick. Just every pitch after the second walk, I'm like, "Where are those pitches? You just told me you're going to have a big zone. Like you just told me." And then as that game went on, I went out and had a mound visit that took way too long. I had like a 3-minute mound visit. The field umpire came and told me to hurry up. I was like, I want to talk to Mick. Tell Mick to come out here next time. So I left. And I was hollering. I should have been ejected. There's no reason for me to be acting like that at Cooperstown. But man, were we just not getting screwed. Our kids were our kids were meeting all my expectations. I had 0 complaints. They were exceeding the expectation that I had of having fun and playing freaking good baseball. I'm like, this is the culmination of my, our 4 years of grinding. And I'm just like, we're getting screwed by the Monopoly man right now.
Mick behind home plate is ruining.
Yeah. I remember I went out there and talked to him specifically. I go, where the heck is that, Mick? Because you just told me in the mound, like before the game started, you said we're going to have a big zone. Where are those? And of course, the other guy goes out there. He's like, it's the same stuff, Mick.
I feel like I remember more of the coach, like you and the coach going at it that game.
Well, that's because he pulled a fast. He was this big Dominican guy, Tufts, and he was like, he had the kind of higher pitched voice, big guy. I was kind of nervous of him, but man, we had the extra players, and you can take out the extra players at any point in the game, but you can't put them in the field. But you can like remove them from your lineup at some point. He did something to where he had the extra players there. He put one into pitch, and once you do that, he's burned, and he's in wherever he's at in the pitch. and then they were like they like reappeared again. Like he did like a illegal roster move, but we didn't find out until after it happened. And by the time I brought it up, it like helped them out in that situation. So the other guy, like, it brought up the top of their order because the guy with the administrator came in and he was like, yeah, you're right, you can't do that. So then it reverted back to what he did improperly before, and the top of the order was up. I go, here we go. I just lost the game because I called out this guy for. I said, so we're getting screwed because this guy did something wrong and no one caught it. And they go, yeah. I go, this is great. I walked out, but it was one of the best games ever. One, because I was just absolutely emotionally invested in this game from
you were
a
letting
game.
Mick have it for sure.
I've never been like that in a baseball game before. Our kids were just answering. They would hit a home run, we'd hit a home run. It was like just an answering ball game. It was just phone tag. It was fun. We lost by one run. One run in like nine or 10 innings, Brady. At like 10:30 at night in Cooperstown, it was raining, 40 degrees. It was so much fun.
I feel like it just sucked to have the kids playing as good as they were, and then Mick just absolutely tearing it up back there.
Yeah, I had a similar thing. So we didn't do Cooperstown, but 2 seasons ago I went to Pigeon Forge for Ripken, and kind of the same thing. We had an umpire the day before, and he was just awful. Strike zones all the way. Like, I think I did get a warning that game, and then after the game, we ended up, I think we tied that game, and like our parents and this guy are just chirping. Like, he had to get an escort to his car because it was just. So we get to the game the next day, bracket play, and he's our field umpire that day. So it's just, we knew it wasn't going to start well, and throughout the game, call after call wasn't going our way, and apparently our first base coach overheard him tell one of the parents, he's like, oh, I'm about to end their tournament. And sure enough, we had a guy on second base, back pick, and kid standing in front of the bag. I go, is he not blocking? He goes, yeah, but he's out anyway. So like, it was the end of the game, and he tried throwing me out, and I'm like, dude, the game's over. What are you throwing me out for? Like, it's just like, sometimes they just get too big of an ego, and like they don't realize, hey, we're here for the kids. Like, if I could sit here and not say a word and let the kids play, I would. But sometimes we have to police you, and it should be the other way around.
With the outlier of Cooperstown and Mick, and sorry, Mick, if you're watching, man, I hope you tune in and
He's definitely watching.
I hope you like and subscribe.
Dude, I hope that would be insane if Mick subscribed.
Mick's in the comments, this guy sucks. He was on my ass the entire game. But besides that game, I had my fair share of mouthing off the umpires. I did it when I was catching. When I got to a cranky junior, senior at Embry-Riddle, I was even talking back to those guys. F&A Mark, he was my favorite umpire. He has a new nickname now because of me. But it like you said, if they have an ego and they're making it about them, that's where I draw the line. It's like, dude, I want to check your ego with kind of just like common sense. And most of the time when I would argue, and Brady can confirm or deny this, you are under oath, by the way, once you agree to this podcast. I would talk to umpires. I would say things that it was very hard to like answer, like to respond to what I'm saying, because I wasn't doing it to like poke you. I wasn't trying to make you riled up. I was just calling out a fact and saying something that they probably never heard before. And I learned that from my dad. Now, my dad has videos on YouTube called Bogart Steals Second and Substitute Umpire. If anyone wants to go check those out, they have way more views than any of my videos will ever have, of him getting ejected over in Amarillo, Texas, in independent league ball. And that shit's funny. But I learned how to speak to umpires in a aggressive way from him, and he did a good job of never really getting ejected. He got ejected. He has his fair share of ejections. He has ejections in high school women's basketball, for God's sakes. But that was funny. Because I'm 12 years old and I'm doing the scoreboard at this high school game, and he's coaching women's basketball, and he gets freaking teed up and gone. Funniest thing I've ever seen. But it's the ones that have the egos, you got to check them. And the same thing on TV. You see the players that check. I mean, the umpire will check the guy with the ego. They're like looking for it, and then they check him back, and it blows up into this thing that then umpire has the right to eject someone, which should happen most of the time. Most of the times, like, dude, take the day off, take the rest of the game off, hit the showers.
I feel like neither of us were too crazy with the umpires.
No,
especially me.
There were just because there were so many other. Well, it goes back to the responsibility thing. It goes back. Let's wrap it up in the coaching world.
Yeah.
If I'm just yelling at the umpire every game, what are the kids going to do? They're going to be like, "Oh, it's the umpire fault." And what did we preach after every single game? Hey guys, I know the umpire made some bad calls, but it's not their fault. I mean, you can't do that and then yell at the umpire the entire game. Yeah, say what you do what you say. And so to end real quick, I know we're going a little bit over longer than one. I know Elizabeth is like, "Come on, tough, let's go to bed." But shout out Elizabeth. But if you had to tell one thing to young Cody or young Brady or young Corey, that like they're in that transition of, let's just say like our guys are, Brady, they're like, I'm going to high school. I do want to play baseball, but like give them some words of advice. They want to make it to the next level. They want to do good. Give them a short words of advice, and we can cut out the pause here because I know this wasn't on the list, but if you had to just kind of give them a quick little thing.
To those kids or myself?
Well, I mean, picture yourself, but to the kids now.
Yeah, no, I would just say, work harder. When you think people aren't watching, they really are. And then kind of when you get into a situation where you could be the mentor, the leader, like, juniors and seniors in high schools, the freshmen, the sophomores, they're watching what you were doing. Even the little kids, like, when I go to my Team Orlando tryouts, we got 13 and 14-year-olds, but we have 9 and 10-year-olds that are waiting for their turn, and they're sitting there watching what's going on. Like, there are always eyes on you, no matter where you think you are or whatever you may think. There's always someone watching. So, do what you do, love the game, and control what you can control. We tell every team, attitude and effort, 2 things you can always you control that. So it's true. So keep doing what you do, and it'll work out eventually.
Love that.
I think I would tell younger Brady to stop being so analytical and just go out and have fun. Like, trust in everything that you've done before this point. Trust that has prepped you to succeed today, and just go out and play baseball the way you know how to play baseball. Like, trust in yourself a little bit more, and whatever happens, and have fun doing it.
That's crazy, man, because that's exactly what I would like. And I'm not sugarcoating at all. We've had these discussions before, and that's why I think we loved coaching together so much, was that we were the same, overanalytical, overthinking. This is the first thing Thurno said to me was like, dude, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. Exactly. Game's easier than you think. Like, prepare, do your work, and then let it loose. So
exactly. I definitely wish I would have let it loose a little bit more.
Yeah. No regrets. No regrets here. But that's the one thing, if I could go back and tell Cody Bogart when he went off to Embry-Riddle, which a lot of people did, and I was just blind to it or whatever, is, play loose, man. Have some fun. And I did. That last year I did feel like that. So that's why I say no regrets, because I ended up figuring it out just a little bit later. So I appreciate your guys' time. This was fun. Talking about baseball some more. I know you guys are in the trenches. So keep doing the Lord's work out there. Teach these kids the right way. Make them become good young men. I know you are.
Always.
Yeah, we'll do it again. I'll tell every guest, got to do it in person.
Absolutely.
But thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Don't tell your friends. Whatever you want to do. I don't really care. But this has been another episode of Stogies with Bogey. And thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks, Bubba.